I'm excited to talk to you all about this today. Obviously, it's not going to be relevant to everybody, but I am going to talk about a lot of things that are relevant to everyone. It's not just about the in-person event. It's about how to think about things strategically, where to invest versus where to not invest. Um, what to focus your effort on in business, if I feel like this makes sense, all of those kind of things. Um, Jess, this is a great question. I'm confused why you don't like it hot, but you keep your seat warmer on. Okay. I don't like, I'm very particular. I don't know how else to say it. I don't like it to be hot outside. I like it to be cool outside and then be able to make myself warm. So like I literally have a heating pad on right now. I love to feel cozy, but you can't feel cozy when it's hot out, you know? Um, I'm so particular. I also really don't like a fan blowing on me. So even if I am hot, which I don't like being, I equally don't want a fan blowing on me. It's very confusing. I'm sure I have some disorder. I don't know what it is. But here we are. Um, so anyway, not that everyone's going to want to create an event, but it's sort of about like the thought process behind like doing certain things in your business if they make sense for you. Um, Doing things that don't always have an immediate payoff, doing things that don't scale, all of that. Agree. Oh, about the fan. Kenny like will sleep with the fan on, and I'm like, you are not well, sir. So this is a big deal for us. Um, okay, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, allow me to catch you up. So this week, I am having all of my, well, not all of, but I'm having an event where I invited all of my clients to my home. And so we're having about 24 clients, I think, are coming. Now, that's going to sound like a lot, and some people are not coming. So the reason it's that is because when we sent the invitations out, it was like early this year, March or something like that, maybe. Um, and so I have clients that have since like moved on or rolled off coaching. Then obviously people, a few people rolled on to fill those spots, like two or three, I think. And so, but the people who rolled off were like, hey, can I still come? And like, of course, my answer is 100% yes to that. Like, I am definitely not someone that's like, oh my gosh, if you like roll off coaching, you can't be here or something. Like, if you're invited, you're invited. Um, and I think that's like important to say because I do feel like there can be such like this like negative connotation with stuff like that. But like there are different reasons for people to end at all different times. And like that can be okay. Like this does not have to be a problem. So anyway, we have some people coming that are not current clients, but have that were in March or whenever we sent out the thing. Then we have, a new podcast client, a couple other new clients since then. And so the number is bigger than the amount of clients we have. But what is also cool is everyone that's a client in the US, I think besides one person is coming. Um, maybe two, one, maybe one. And the only other people that aren't coming are two in the US. And then I think the other people that aren't coming are like out of the country, like Australia. Um, and very understandable. But also people are coming from out of the country. Like someone's coming from Dubai. People are coming from Canada. Like it really is cool that it's what's the word I want to use? Like it's something that people like really wanted to make the effort for. And so anyway, context and number, but I'm having people at my house. So I am doing that this weekend. So it's all day Saturday and we're doing a dinner Saturday. So I'm gonna give a lot of context about like how that happened, why I chose to do this, all of those things. What I had initially been envisioning. So this is like helpful to talk about too, because I think that sometimes we have like this initial thought of what something will be and then it like transforms. And I think one of the best things you can do in your business is be willing to let it transform. So my initial like thing, I had been feeling so much like I just want to like have a dinner party and have all my clients at my house. And I've been thinking about that for a while. And so that was sort of what I like initially approach this with, but I floated it to a few different people really casually and was like, oh, I might have like a dinner party at my house. Like, I don't know if you'd like ever want to come for that. And they were like, absolutely. And I was kind of surprised that people seemed like really willing to travel for that. So then when I kind of got deeper in it, I was like, I'm really not going to ask anybody to travel that much just for a dinner party. I think we should do a full day thing. Um, and then we got so many people being like, I'll 100% be there for the full day thing. We decided to add just like a little beach walk the next morning. So we're doing a full day at my house. We're doing a dinner at a restaurant. We're doing a like little breakfast and beach walk the next morning. And like obviously some people won't come to that because they're flying out. Um, but I share that to say again, like sometimes like what you initially anticipate will change based on the feedback that you get from the people that you are doing it for. And I feel like that's something that's like really important to let happen in your business. Like if I was so rigidly tied to like it has to be a dinner party at my home, this wouldn't have transformed like that. And to be honest, I was a little bit at first. There's like very stupid reasons for that though. Okay. One of the reasons I wanted it to be a dinner party at my home was because we have fire bowls outside. And I was like, it'll look so pretty with the fire bowls on at night. That is not a good enough reason to get so attached to it having to be this way. And so when I actually like looked at the logistics of everything, what we had initially planned is we were going to do somewhere else during the day and then have the dinner party at my house at night because I was attached to that. But we looked at like hotel ballrooms and stuff like that. And like, there is nothing wrong with that. That's just not my vibe. And again, I really don't say that in like a passive aggressive kind of commentary kind of way. I think it's actually like the best thing for like most business events, but equally like for what I was trying to accomplish or like the kind of intention of this event and kind of just like who I am and how I operate, like I just could not see doing that. Like every time I kind of looked into that, my body was just like, no. Um, and then there's also the factor of like, I have a small child. And so having a dinner party here means he needs to like literally sleep elsewhere. Where if we just have like a day event here, he can obviously be gone for the day and then like come back into his normal routine. So ultimately we decided, okay, it makes so much more sense to have everyone at my house during the day and go somewhere else for dinner. So like these are unimportant things and equally like I think it's just helpful to be like you can change all of the things, be attached to what really matters and let go of what doesn't. Like it does not matter if we have like my fucking fire bowls on, right? It literally matters zero. It does matter that it feels cozy and connected and all of those things to me. That is so like the intention of the event. And so like I have to operate with that in mind. Yeah, Jess, exactly. Hotel ballrooms are very not cozy. Like there's just not a lot you can do to make that cozy. Hey, Lily, she said, I agree. I had to pivot based on students' feedback. It was hard, but it helped me create better things. Exactly. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to have you. Allison said that's so true. It sounds like it'll be such a lovely event. Thank you, Allison. Oh, by the way, and as always, if you guys are here, any comment, you're entered to win any of my products or $100 gift card for being here and chatting with me. And obviously, if you have questions about this, or if you're like, hey, can you talk about this one specific thing? I'm totally here for that. But I'm just kind of like walking you through the thought process. But if you're like, I was coming on this live because I wanted to ask you this, or I wanted to know about this, tell me. And I'm here to do that. Okay, so anyway, be attached to the like true intention and like make that the thing. Try to be really unattached to all the details. So let me look at my little list here. Um, let's kind of go back to like what made me want to take this on. So basically this year, what I typically do in my business is I usually do about one big thing a year. That tends to be my cadence. Um, so that would be anything from like, when Sarah and I did Happy Thoughts in the past, or like when Jen and I did Dateable or different things like that. Like I usually won't take on more than one big new thing in a year. And so coming into this year, I just felt really clean and clear in a way that I haven't in a while. Like last year going into the year, my like big thing that I took on was like we were really reworking my team then. And so I really didn't want to take on anything else because I was like, we have to get teams solidified. So we came into this year finally feeling a little bit more solidified with team. Well, a lot more solidified with team. And I really felt like, and I didn't have anything else. Like I had happy thoughts for a long time. I had Dateable for a while. So I was kind of coming into this year being like, I have nothing else. Like, what do I want to do with that energy and space again that I haven't had since like, gosh, before I had Bennett. Um, and what I just felt so clear on is like, I want to go deeper with my people. I want to create deeper relationships and community. So it was really obvious to do this. But that thought process of like one new thing a year, I will say, has served me almost my entire business. Like I really have operated on that foundation since probably like year 2 or 3. Obviously in year 1 and 2, it's a little bit different. You have to do a lot more shit. But once you get a little bit more solidified, having some kind of parameters around that for yourself, it doesn't have to be one like me, but having some kind of parameters around like, hey, we always kind of like think about adding on, in this way, or, kind of like what are our buckets there, or what do we have space for? And like, can we get on somewhat of a repeatable schedule with that? We're like, now we're in November. So I'm already like, what's my thing for next year? Um, I don't know the answer to that yet, by the way. If you guys have things that you think should be my thing for next year, by all means, throw out ideas for me. But um, it really is helpful for me to do that. So actually, I do have one idea. I lied. I have one idea of what my thing might be for next year, but I digress. Um, this was like my thing for this year. And that also really helps me because I budgeted for it. Like it is in my business, like expense document and budget. Like I really picked like, here's the budget. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I want this to look like. Um, and we planned for it really accordingly. Like my team has been working on this since March, right? And so that just makes it so nothing feels like super crazy and reactive. And so that I can like keep my attention on what matters. Like, so this year it has been on like the relationships piece. So that extended even beyond this event that I went to an event in New York in May that I said yes to primarily because it was like on that front. It was like relationship focused. Most of the things that I have done this year have been with that intention in mind. And so I think it's really, really helpful to kind of have these North Star kind of things in your business because it helps you build momentum around something and it helps it so that things feel intentional and not like an afterthought or not reactive. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm still gonna have reactive moments. Like I was just a dress that I might wear just arrived. I was just trying it on before then. Like ideally, I would have had this figured out, like less with more time than a week, but it doesn't matter. In general, the actual event and experience itself is something that we have been moving to for a while, and it helps us like do it really well. Hey, Anastasia, thank you. Um, and so that's what made me take it on this year. It was just like very much like, this is my goal. These are my values. This is what I want to lean into. This fits in our budget. This makes sense. And I think that can almost sound like overly simplistic, but I also don't think most people plan their business like with that in mind. So I feel like that's an important takeaway. Um, the other thing that made me take this on is because I often go back and forth in my business on like what makes sense from like a investment perspective and what doesn't, in the sense that like obviously I don't need to make an investment in terms of like getting a lot of new leads. Like we have a strong wait list, all of that, but equally I do want to pour some investment back into the business. I don't want it to be like we're never reinvesting into the business just because we have some leads or whatever. And so this was a really good way for me to be like, oh, I could see how this will get us more leads and intention, surely, right? Like a bunch of people are going to be at my house and sharing it. Of course, that's going to lead to like more eyes on what I'm doing. And equally, it really just made sense from the perspective of like when my clients win, I win. So if I'm going to reinvest into the business, reinvesting into them having an experience that helps them have bigger and better takeaways, things that get them more results, et cetera, is going to be a win for me. And so that was a really easy decision too. But equally, none of those things are going to have really immediate payoff, right? If my clients have, an insight from this event, they're going to have to go take it and run with it. If I get, you know, whatever, tagged, shouted out, blah, blah, blah from this event, I might see an uptick in my wait list, but even seeing like money come into the business from that will be quite far out. And so, but I say that to say just because something is a long-term move, it doesn't make it a bad move. Sometimes that is the most strategic thing you can be doing is being like, okay, I am happy to invest in my clients getting better results and me getting more eyes on my work, even if that doesn't pay off for X amount of time. I think what it's so easy to do when you're in that position is to think you don't have to, but there will always come a time where you will wish you had, is what I have seen over the years. Like, so many, it's like that kind of like thing that we see all the time with people when they like scale their business is like they get a bunch more clients and then everything they were doing to get clients they drop because they're serving those clients, and it doesn't seem like a big deal for a while until all of a sudden 6 months later it really catches up with them and they're like, wait, where are all my leads? And it's like, well, you stopped doing the things that help you get them. And so that was another reason that this made sense for me, is because I've always been like really intentional about being like, yes, I'm so proud of like having a wait list and like the kind of momentum we have built. And also, I am not dumb. Like, I know we have that momentum because I have kept showing up and doing things in marketing and putting myself out there and all of those things, right? So this was really a long-term play on that. And that is important to do. You really want to be careful that just because you don't have to do something in that moment, it doesn't mean that you're dropping it completely. Like that is when businesses really start to scale, is when you're like, I don't have to do this right now, but I'm going to keep doing it and I'm going to keep getting better and better at it. And it's going to get easier and easier. Like that is like scalability, really. So I think that sometimes that's really important to see. Like at the beginning of business, of course, we need to do what gives us like a quick win so we can like keep the lights on, stay in business, keep going. But much longer term, so often we have to do things that we might not see the win for immediately. And thinking we don't have to do that or thinking we don't have to play the long game is something that keeps people really, really stuck and quite honestly, really fucking confused in business too. Because they're like, wait, it was fine until it wasn't, you know? And usually what made it not fine happened 6 months earlier. And so trying to track it back to that can be very confusing. Hey, Megan, she said, love that you do this. Thank you. It's good to see you. So anyway, sometimes we can't like track it back to that. So for me, I've just always been really clear. Like, I know why I have a wait list. I know why I have interest. How can I keep doing things to build that, even if the payoff is long term? And I just think that's how we have to start thinking about business at a certain point. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, like a decade now, right? And so obviously I have a ton of momentum coming off that decade, but equally, like, I don't want that to stop. I think that the other thing I will say about that too is that that is sometimes the most fun place to be in business, because I'm going into this event and I'm not like, oh my gosh, how many insert thing clients am I going to sell into the next level? People am I going to re-enroll? Sales am I going to make? Whatever. Like, if I was doing this event and then I was also worried on top of it about like the pressure of like what it needed to do for me, I would be having a different experience. I'm not saying it's bad. Sometimes an event is like a really fucking strong way to sell. I'm just saying the experience of this would be quite different. And so I think that's really important for us to remember too, about like the immediate payoff. Like sometimes it's actually so much more fun to do something that doesn't have that, because you're allowed to just play. You're like, yep, long term, I know this is going to build like a ton of goodwill with my clients, my audience, like I'm in, great. Instead of like, I need this to net me X at this moment. And certainly, again, at the beginning of business, we can't like afford to do that. Not make sense. But when you're in it longer, sometimes we will trick ourselves that we can't afford to do that. But the truth is, most businesses can afford to do that, and they would benefit so greatly off of that, both in terms of like the fun and kind of like stress-free nature that can come from that, but equally from the trust building, from the relationships that come from that as well. Lily said, I love this, that you're not worried about the pressure of what and how many. It does make a difference in the experience for sure. Like, I'm certainly like how can we make this a great experience for them? Like, I would say that is for sure where my like stress point is. Like, there's part of me that's like, did I make it too simple? Should I have, like, should we be doing even more? Um, should I have put this in? Should I have not put this in? And that's like an easier thing to be stressed about. Um, Adrian said, I've been doing coffee shop dates and it's super casual. I love that. Yes. Like, it's like, hey, I'm just here to talk to you. Like, I don't need anything specific from this right now. There's this book I really like. It's called The Wealthy Spirit. God, it's so old and it has like a little thing every day that you do. And one of the core kind of like philosophies in it is this idea of sending out ships. And you just like send out your ships and you don't worry about when they're coming back. You send out your ships. And to me, that's like what kind of this is of like, hey, I'm just sending out my ships. Like, I'm gonna have a great experience, gonna make connections. Like, I don't know what's gonna come back from that or when, but I know it will. I think coffee dates are so similar. Like, you're just out there sending out ships, and like you can't know for sure when they'll come back, but they will. Well, I think it's called The Wealthy Spirit. It's been a really long time since I read it, but it's a goodie. I want the experience. Yes, exactly. Um, so remember that, like, sometimes the best and most fun things you do, you will not be able to go, oh, and I made whatever 100K selling from stage and like, or that like, and also that can be okay. Like, again, I'm not trying to say that's bad, but I'm just trying to say that like, if that's the only focus ever, sometimes you really do lose that kind of fun element of being like, oh, I can do something that doesn't just look like an immediate payoff. Like, it's equally fun for me to get to like have people at my home. It's fun for me to get to be in person with all of my clients. Like, I love being in person with my clients. It's like one of my favorite things. Like, this is in many ways just like a selfish endeavor as well. And like, you can use your business for selfish endeavors. You know what I mean? Like, I get to like have all these people in a room that I like love and care about and have them come to my house and my business gets to pay for that. Like, that's cool as fuck. Um, I also will say that I don't know if this is relevant. I guess it is. I yeah, I think it is. So one of the things that I've really focused on with this event is making it not about me at all. It helps your house look gorgeous. Thank you. Yes, I am happy to have people here. It does feel exciting. So one thing that I think is nice about it not feeling like I have to prove something or get something out of this immediately is the truth is most of my clients have a lot, well, all of my clients have a lot of access to me. We do 3 calls a month. They have unlimited base camp support. Like, they're good on me. Right? They would all be here and be lovely and be like, no, we're not done with you. But like, my point is like that they're good, right? Um, so in having them come here, like my number one intention is for them to get more of each other, not like more of me. And so I feel like there is this way in which I could like put myself at the front of the room the whole time and do a big spiel and do hot seats and like show off my coaching or whatever the shit. I'm not even speaking at my own event. I mean, I'll give like a welcome spiel, I'll give like a thank you spiel at dinner. But I'm really not doing anything apart from that. I'm going to participate in all of the activities as like a participant. Um, but I decided that because when I zoom out and go, what do they really need? Again, like they don't need more of me right now. Like they don't need to travel to get that. They need to get to be with each other and connect with each other while they're here. Like that makes it make sense for them. Um, and so I think that is some of that stuff of just being like, I don't have to like get anything out of this. I don't have to like make them think I'm like the most amazing thing ever. I just have to like provide them with like a really beautiful experience that like meets a need that they have. And equally, if you look at my business, that's also a really smart strategic move because the one need I don't meet in my business is community, right? I'm a one-on-one coach. Like if you are coming to me, you are not getting a big community. I mean, like a lot of my clients do connect with each other and stuff, and I certainly make connections and referrals and stuff like that. But like by and large, it's not like you're on a community call every week, right? Um, and so this was strategic in that way too, of being like, they don't need to come here and get more of me. They're already getting that. What is my service not currently great at providing? Oh yeah, community. I can do that here. Um, and so that's something to think about too, is like sometimes I think that we either make that wrong. We're like, oh my gosh, see, my business should be providing community all the time. Look, they obviously really want this. They're all flying in. Maybe I should create a mastermind. Maybe I should what? No, right? And equally, or we're like, no, but they just love getting me. And so I'm just going to do hot seats the whole day. Also, no. Like, I can have an opportunity to like fill a gap without having to make that gap filling my responsibility always. And there can be a cap to what they need from me. Like that's okay too. I don't have to like make myself the star of the show kind of thing. So I feel like that's really helpful. It's like I think so often, especially in the online world, we're almost trained to like always make ourselves the star of the show. And what I really think makes the most difference for people is how you make them feel. Like what results you can help them get. Like hands down 100% of the time, how you make them feel, what results you can help them get. And so if something that you can facilitate helps them get that doesn't look like you being the star of the show, fuck it, that's so unimportant. So I think that's another like thing about this is like we really do have to think that I am having someone come and speak. Well, it's speak is not the right way to say it. They're coming. I'm doing like a chat with them, and then all my clients can ask questions. I guess I can just say who it is. I already told my clients. It's Shannon Watts. So if you guys don't know her, she's amazing. She is the founder of Moms Demand Action, which is like the largest grassroots movement. And it's about gun control. Basically, she started after Sandy Hook and has become like, the most prominent, I think, grassroots political movement, but it's not a political conversation. She talks a lot. She has a book out and she talks a lot about being fired up and like doing things, going after your passions, like really like not writing yourself and your skill set off, all of these things. Like she's a massive introvert, all of these things, and has built like this absolute ginormous network and really gone after like the biggest self-interest groups probably in the country as a mom of five. And so anyway, she's coming. And to me, I was like, I would rather bring Shannon in and get them to experience Shannon's like amazingness. They get mine all the time. Right. And so that's another thing to think about. Like if you can connect them with people, resources, things that make their lives and experiences better, that is really meaningful. And again, it does not always have to be you. Sometimes you being the facilitator of the event, the connector of that is just as valuable. So I'm really excited to have Shannon. I look up to her. I think she's incredible. And her book is really good. If you haven't read it. So yeah, they're gonna like get to hear from someone else that is not just like me shouting into a vacuum. What else do I want to say about this? I keep saying today. I'm like looking at my notes here. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is like, where is the line? Right? Because I think from the outside, you could look at this and be like, okay, great. Like you're pouring into your clients so much, but like, where's the line? Like, how much do you pay for something like this? How much do you decide to go all in on this? Where is the point at which you're just like burning money or overextending yourself? And I think that's always really important for us to ask too. Hey, um, because sometimes like that is real. Sometimes what starts off as a good idea becomes now I must watch everyone and hyperfixate and all of those things. I, as someone who is quite hypervigilant by nature, by trauma is maybe a better way to say that, by conditioning, whatever. Maybe not by nature. It's easy for me to sometimes like go into overextension or over responsibility. I've had to work on that so much over the years. And so for me, that's just really looked like being like, I will control my part and I will not control the rest. So I have really been like, I'm going to control the experience like at my home and at dinner. But jobs. But apart from that, I'm like trusting that these are like fully capable adult humans that can handle anything. And so like we're not micromanaging travel, we're not micromanaging how people get to my house, we're not micromanaging how they get from my house to dinner. We created this like amazing document of like, here are the hotels we recommend, here are restaurants we recommend, here's when you should get in by, here's our schedule, here's this, here's that, here's what we're wearing. Or I said, like, here's what ideas of what I might be wearing, here's what you could do. Like, we gave a lot of information. Um, so like they can make easy decisions, but I feel like there's an old version of me that would have been like, oh my gosh, we have to figure out like how to pick everyone up and transport them here and then how to get them back and how to da, 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 da. There would have been an this is the other thing we did. We did connections. So we're like, we gave them a connection for like, hey, when you walk in the room, this is the first person to connect with. Just because I wanted everyone to like feel really comfortable walking in and not overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I don't know anyone. Who do I talk to? So everybody has like a connection when they first walk in, and then they have one or two other people that I like said to them, hey, you should also connect with this person, and here's why. Maybe you want to do it at lunch, maybe you want to do it at dinner, but like here's someone else I'd really recommend you like sit with and chat with, and here's kind of like a jumping off point for that. But again, an old version of me would have probably felt like I needed to be like, oh, let me like set up a call for you guys, or let me set up a call for all of us to connect and let me facilitate that connection. I was like, here's the information, have at it. And we did the same thing with like the carpool thing. We're like, hey, if you're coming from these hotels and you want a carpool, let us know. We'll put it on a spreadsheet. Here's the spreadsheet. So I know it sounds simple, but like so much of that stuff of like, oh, I don't want to just give information. I need to like step in and fix all these things and make it so that like they don't have to figure out anything, is stuff I would have probably found myself doing in the past. And so you kind of just have to know your line. Like in terms of what I budgeted for the event, transportation wasn't part of it. And it didn't feel like the best use of money I could spend on this event. Clients aren't paying for this. They had to put down a deposit of like $150. So I knew they were like coming and to hold their spot. But there's not like an upcharge. It was really more just like, so I know you're seriously coming. But I mean, technically they're paying in a sense, but I'm saying it's not like I'm charging like, oh, this is a, $1,000 retreat day or something like that. And so equally, like, again, it's like shared responsibility of being like, okay, because I'm not doing that, I trust that they got this. And so I think that's sometimes where we have to come in with this idea of like, how can we give a lot, but also know our lines and know what feels good to us and what doesn't. Like, even in terms of coordination, that would have been like a very next level thing for us to coordinate. In terms of like, do we have multiple pickup locations? Do we have this? It's fine. They got it. Right. And so I think that there are important pieces like that too, to be like, where do I want to pour in? Like for me, having Shannon here is a good example. Like I really want to pour in with that. Like that makes sense as someone who I'm willing to be like, I will pay for this person to be here. I think it's 100% worth it versus other places where I'm like, that's just not the place for me to pour in. And I think that's what we have to be able to do as business owners. I think that's true of like any container we're creating. There are going to be pieces where it feels good to over deliver and it feels good to lean in and like pour. And then there are going to be pieces where you're just like, I feel like I'm supposed to, but I don't want to, or I feel like I should, but like that doesn't make sense with like whatever budget, reality, etc. And not feeling compelled to overdo that is really important, because if you do stuff like this, there's always more you could do. I could have welcome gifts sitting at their hotel room. I could have multiple speakers. I could have I could have made it 3 days. Like there is like a never ending give, right? With stuff like this, whether that's in person or whether that's even like what Adrian was talking about earlier, a coffee chat. Like you could end up giving so much at that coffee chat. And then you could go home and send them resources, and then you could make connections for them. And then you could like there is this kind of like never ending spiral you can sometimes go down with this stuff. And so I think it's just like really important to remember like, what are my lines? What makes sense for me, what doesn't? And am I willing to like trust myself to hold my lines? That's how you trust that you can like do stuff like this, or you can have, I think, have people really close to you is a good way I would say that. You can trust that it's safe to have people really close to you when you hold your lines and boundaries around that. A lot of times when people are like, oh, I can't do deep work and whatever. So often what they're really saying is, I really struggle to hold boundaries, so I can't let people that close to me, you know? Um, and so in this, it's like, I'm happy to have you at my home. I'm happy to do all of these things. I want you very close to me. And here are the ways that works for me, you know? Not a single person has cared about that, by the way. Like most of your people are fine with these things. It's like made up shit in our head that anyone cares about this stuff. And or if someone did care, like they might not be the right person. So I say all that to say, like, it is safe to let people around you. It is safe to over deliver. It is safe to go deep. You just have to know where you're going to hold yourself, what's important to you, what's not. Um, so another thing I want to say is like, it is really good to over deliver sometimes. I don't think that has to be always, and I don't think it has to be forever. Like just because I'm doing this once, it doesn't mean now my clients are going to expect every single year, no matter what, I'm doing a thing, right? But equally, I think that sometimes our industry really goes the opposite way. Like we're so quick to be like almost look down on over delivery. I think that is just such a nuanced thing, I guess is how I would say it. Of where they're like, never over deliver, never make that a thing, never let people like see you give a lot. And again, to me, that's just like, I don't hold my own boundaries. It's not safe to overgive because I'll feel like I have to forever. It's not safe to overgive because people will expect that from me and I won't ever say no. So it is really good to over deliver and overgive some time in your business. A lot of these clients have been clients of mine for a long time. It is safe and okay for me to do big things for them sometimes. And equally, that does not mean that I'm now on the hook for doing that forever and ever and ever. And so I think that that's a really important takeaway too, is like, don't be scared to overgive in your programs. Just make sure that you have the boundaries and self-trust in place to hold them. But when you're with someone and they do give you an over delivery experience, of course that builds goodwill. Of course that builds a relationship. Of course that makes you want to stay. Like that's not bad. We want to be in containers that feel really good and that sometimes surprise and delight us. And so just a reminder on that piece too, like don't get so far away from this idea that giving is bad. It's just doing it at your own detriment, which is like, and to my point at the beginning, this is not to my own detriment. There are many positives for me. There are many long-term positive outcomes. This is in the budget, all of those things. So the last thing I'll say, just to like kind of refocus, is like clarity on if this was the right decision, like would I do this again in hindsight? Obviously, I haven't had the event yet, so you'll have to ask me next Monday. But from where I stand right now, this was 100% the right thing for us to do this year. I think we made really good choices around it too. Like we almost hired an event planner, which would have been a pretty considerable cost. And I'm very, very glad we didn't do that because Taylor, my OBM, has done a phenomenal job. Now, if she wasn't so detailed and organized, that probably would have been a requirement. But I think we really put the right amount of effort and spend into this, is how I'm kind of like at the end of the tail end of this feeling of like, there's a lot of intentionality. There's a lot of, there's just like a good energy exchange with it. Like, I feel like we spent the right amount, we put in the right amount of energy. I'm glad we didn't really go over the top and get like a whole event planner and make it this whole thing when we already had that skill set on our team. But yes, I do feel like this was the right thing. I'm looking at my year being like, going hard on relationships was absolutely the right thing, especially in this kind of changing climate of business. I really feel like this was the place to put that time and energy. So all that to say, obviously an event at your home, whatever, it doesn't have to be the thing for you. But whenever you're focusing on something else, like, oh, let me over deliver or let me run a thing, these are things you want to think about. Does this match your intentions? What are like the core pieces that you really want to make sense of here? What is the time, energy, and money you're willing to give? Decide those things up front. Know what your boundaries are. Know what feels good to you. If you go into stuff with all of that in place, it's going to be really easy to feel like it's worth it. If you go into stuff without those in place, it's going to be really easy to get to the end and be like, why did we even do this? Does this even make sense? So I hope that helps. I will be back next Monday. I'm going to try to share takeaways, insights, all of that kind of stuff in terms of the sort of like practical and strategic pieces. And yeah, just give you guys a little update on it. But thank you all for being here. Thanks for listening to me chat about this. If y'all have any questions about in-person stuff, event stuff, obviously I'm not the ultimate expert by any means, but happy to tell you what we've done, what's worked for us. And I hope y'all have a beautiful week. Bye guys. Thanks for being here.